What is up, sports fans? My name is Jake Andrzejewski. You can call me Jake Iggy or Iggy for short. And this is Iggy's Sports Talk. So I greatly appreciate everybody tuning in to episode 41 of Iggy's Sports Talk. And if you have not yet, go over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and subscribe to Iggy's Sports Talk. I post these podcasts every single week. And today I have a very special guest with me. His name is Marques Ogden, and he is a former NFL player. He was a lineman, offensive lineman for the Jaguars, Ravens, Bills, and Titans. And now he is currently a business coach, keynote speaker, and he was most recently a best-selling author. So how's it going, Marques?
Thanks a lot for having me on, Iggy. How you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great. It's another beautiful day in paradise. I go to school in northern New Hampshire, so it's pretty cold out there, and we just got a huge snowstorm a few days ago.
Yeah, up in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New York, Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of things on the radio. I've seen a lot of things on TV in regard. And yeah, man, hopefully you guys are doing all right up there.
Yeah, I actually just went skiing, and it was kind of tough to be able to find my way, navigate my way down the hill because ice was all in my goggles. I was wiping down my goggles as I was going down the hill. It's kind of scary, quite honestly.
Watch it so I don't get hurt out there.
Exactly. Where are you based in right now?
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, there you go. How's the weather there?
Oh, it's good, man. It's a little cold today. Probably about, in the mid 40s, but we don't go down here. Like Richmond, which is like 2.5 hours north of us, gets snow a lot. Well, not a lot. It gets pretty much a good amount of snow for that area. Coming down, we don't get any snow. So it's very, very sporadic. So it's awesome, and it's great to have weather here.
Yeah, I've actually been to North Carolina once, and the only thing that I can say that I didn't like too much was the mosquitoes. Those mosquitoes, boy, they never back down.
Well, yeah, you probably been up. Where'd you go in North Carolina?
I went in the Shenandoah Valley.
And you were going to say you have to be out in the mountains because where I'm at in Raleigh, in the city, we don't get a lot of mosquitoes. So you're definitely out towards the mountains area of our.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually went there. I went there this past summer, obviously, because with everything that was going on, I had the opportunity to go on a cool road trip. My friends and I went to 12 states in 2 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, but that's kind of someplace that I wanted to start our conversation was 2020, because I mean, obviously it was an unprecedented year, definitely a learning experience for everybody. And how I like to start off these conversations is ask, what was the best moment of 2020? If you can really think of a moment looking back on that year where you're really grateful for the opportunity or for that experience, what would it be?
Iggy, really grateful for the team that we have around us, because then all the things we did last year, pivoting right around May timeframe would not have been possible. Mm-hmm. As a keynote speaker, coach, best-selling author, a lot of our work was driven by speaking on stage. Right. But when the pandemic happened, a lot of work, as a matter of fact, a lot of my clients are not even back in the office yet. I mean, we are very fortunate to have some humongous clients to Goldman Sachs, to Red Gold Quality, where 35% of our nation's catch-up is that organization. Wow. We were able to pivot and do more virtual events like we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. It allowed us to be able to still service people who are down there. A lot of people, unfortunately, were not pivoting. They were not adjusting. As a result of that, they ended up, unfortunately, to stay through all of this, the business empire.
Right, yeah, because I mean, it must have been sort of like a weird time for you because nobody really knew when this was going to really end, and so I'm curious, like, how long did it really take for your team to be able to adapt, and how difficult was that? Because it must have been a very interesting and sort of good learning experience for you and your team.
Well, the pandemic happened around, I guess, about March time for all of my role. So about almost 3 months, it was really hard for us to figure out how to pivot because a lot of people were kind of getting engaged. Is it gonna pass over? Is it gonna be short-lived? Are we gonna get back to things in the fall?
Right.
You know, are we gonna get back to things in the winter? And it never happened. And so luckily for us, we were forward thinking. We got a lot of some pretty amazing clients. Again, like AXA Equitable, which is one of the largest insurance company in the world out of Paris, France.
Wow.
They hired us, people. We did some Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. So we were able to get some huge juggernaut clients to work with us because market this in an appropriate manner. And I tell people all the time, there's 3 ways to market. You have inbound traffic, things like doing podcasts like we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And have outbound traffic where you create stuff like marketing one sheets or doing a newsletter or doing a blog. You put it out on that market. Then you have social positioning. You and I met on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big believer in posting content, being engaging,
1,000%.
doing because you never know who's listening.
Right. Very true. That must have been really interesting for your team to really have to go through that. And I'm guessing now the process must be, very fluent and you guys must not really have to think about too much since you guys have been really adapting throughout these past few months. But how has 2021 been going for you?
2020 has been really good. Again, we did get Mutual of Omaha as a client. That was awesome. We were able to get Goldman Sachs as a client, which was phenomenal. We got a couple of cuts from us that we did, which is always great because anytime people hear you virtually and not meet you in person, and they still want to pay hard-earned money to you without meeting you or shaking your hand, that says a lot for the caliber of your work. Right. And we've had some big Bama this year. That was early January. So that was January 7th and 8th. I was in Mobile, Atlanta for a speaking job. We're actually heading to Vegas. I'm heading to Vegas tomorrow for a big mastermind group hotel. I will be going to Salt Lake City the week of the 14th? Is that what it is? No, the week of the 15th. There for Western Governors University. So yeah, so far, Iggy, 2021 has been phenomenal because we've been continuing to build the foundations. We made that switch and pivoted back in, I guess that's going to be late spring of 2020.
Yeah, that's amazing. You guys have just kept the pedal on the metal and just keep on going, just keep trying to grind day in and day out. And it's really amazing throughout this, uncertain time, how your team and yourself were really able to adapt and how showing it is of how successful this process is.
Well, it's that your ability to have great team members, but also a great team culture. We value our team members. There's me, their website SEO person. We have a great trademark and patent person. We have a great videographer. And we're right now in the process of looking at some potential plans on a ton of your podcasts, networking, social positioning, because without that, get all that consistent target client. Because if you're not putting out material consistently, it's really hard to the end result, which is going to be you saying, hey, you're the right person for me. Right. Let's go to work.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually just researching for this interview, I went on your website, which everybody can go and check that out at marquesogden.com. And I saw the video, the advertisement that you have of your keynote speech and really just like a preview of it. And I got to tell you that was very well produced. It was something where most of the time when I go on people's websites looking at like a keynote speech, they usually give the full speech. But I saw the video, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is only 4 minutes. And I was able to really learn about your incredible story from a short amount of time, and also learn about how passionate about what you do now you are.
Well, Iggy, people's attention spans are short. So if you try to put out all of your content, all your speeches, all of that, I feel it's going to make people, I don't want to say get bored, but it's going to consume more of the time that they have a big saying when it comes to sales.
Right.
E, be efficient. That's one of the acronyms of our sales process. People don't waste it. Not today. Not really ever, but for sure not today. So if you're going to be somebody that tries to get others to do, and you have to be very efficient, and you have to give people information and value that is going to say, hey, this person enough for him and or her to say, I want to put my money with them because they can bring me value. And you don't have to give people your whole in the cookie jar. You can give them one or two chips, one or two cookies, say, oh, I like this. This tastes great. Let's talk more business now about you or to be working for our firm.
Yeah, 1000%. And I got that right from the video. And I'm excited to talk to you more about your story, because I got to be honest with you. I was very impressed and inspired. And it was something where just learning more about your story. There's not a lot of people that fall down and are able to come back up as well and as efficiently as you have. But I wanted to start first, just really to sort of talking about your early sort of football career. At what moment, was it in high school, college, did you really sort of understand, damn, I'm pretty good at this football stuff. I might be able to get drafted at some point.
You know what's interesting, Iggy? I didn't really know that until right after my redshirt junior year of college. When I saw my name, and so when I saw my name in different draft books or magazines or articles, and my brother, who was already in his 7th year in the NFL, he was a 6-time All-Pro, Pro Bowler. I mean, he was just having a for himself at his prime. And I remember asking him, what did he think? He said, well, Marques, you're in the books. People know about you. What do you have to lose all for the last year of your career in college? You don't want to look back and have that horrible word of regrets because you're not consume all that you could for football. And so I did that. And I was able to get very fortunate, went to an all-star game in Maui and and I was Mac Brown, who at the time was at Texas, who's now back at Chapel Hill, UNC, doing well. I was able to play from Florida State, Rice, Texas, Miami. As a matter of fact, the head coach of the team that was Larry, Miami's head coach at the time, and it was great. And I was able to showcase my talent for the scouts and made some great friends. And I had experience, and I was able to take that experience, and I was able to get drafted into the National Football League in 2003 by the Jacksonville Jaguars, their rookie Del Rio.
Yeah, and like you just said, you were drafted in the 6th round, pick 193, and I was curious, how did you really find out that you were drafted? Like, if you can picture really the moment that when it happened, and sort of what was your reaction when you found out?
Well, it was, wow, all this hard work, all this dedication to my craft, perfecting what I need to do, all has to get to this point. And really and truly, it was phenomenal because it showed me we can get to that level. Yes, we really can excel. And I mean, we as the people that helped me, my brother, my friends, I had a great strength coach who I'm still friends with to this day, who helped me that's why I keep saying there was a lot of just me time, gave their effort, gave their energy to help me be in the best position to be an NFL player. And still to date, I'm still the only time and ever drafted from Howard University into the National Football League. I hope that changes at some point. I'd love to see more Bison players, linemen. Now, I'm the first and only lineman that has ever been drafted into the National Football League.
Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, I bet especially just for your college, it'd be cool for you to see another person in there. But it must be pretty neat to be able to say that and have it be you.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It is, because when my father went to Howard, I didn't expect to be an NFL player, to be and I got very fortunate, had a great NFL career. And like most NFL players, I struggled immensely because I wasn't prepared for it.
That makes sense. And was there really anybody during that early process of the transition in the NFL that sort of really tried to help you, or was a role model or a mentor earlier in your career at all?
My brother helping me just have some information about how to budget and how to do all those things. And I did those things correctly and all that stuff, but you never really prepare for life after the game unless you take the time to do it yourself, which I did a little bit. But again, I was 20 years old, over in the NFL now, but I wanted to play some arena ball and had some fun, and I still was enjoying the physicality of the game, just up until, so man, I was 36. I was playing a little indoor football down here in Raleigh because I just loved the game so much and I enjoyed, the competition. Is the highest caliber that it's ever going to be. And as a result of that, I am truly, I was able to have such a great career and play for as long as I did. But nobody can really help you transition after unless you really just have things during the game. And so you can know that at some point that the game was going to be over. And that's why I try to work with a lot of players today, current player now, with that transition, because it's hard. I mean, it's really hard when you're an athlete and then all of a sudden, bam, the lights cut out and you're not an athlete anymore. Trying to really focal points has been really something that I've really tried to do for many years of my speaking and coaching career.
Yeah, that's amazing because I bet, obviously, like you said, you're not the only person that really struggled with the transition from playing to retiring. And I was curious because I heard in a little bit of the speech that I heard of your keynote speech that you try to instill some of the stuff that you learned from your playing career into your speeches. And so I was curious, like, what are some of the biggest lessons that you learned, whether it was like leadership, time management, just from your playing career in the NFL?
Well, do this name both of them. Leadership for sure, servant leadership, how to be a tactical servant that he is in charge of. And then without a doubt, scheduling and time management. And that's where a lot of that I coach and I help them with identifying things using their planner, how to set out dates to get stuff done by a certain time. Work on going to be viable, and it works because somebody like me who's been through a lot, I've had a lot of ups and downs, I've made millions of dollars, 25 cents an hour as a custodian 7 years ago, a little over about 7.5 years ago, and now I'm the speaker and all this great stuff. But for me, and in my eyes, I'm just a guy who really tries to help others, and I've learned my craft learning. I'm always trying to get better. I'm always trying to work on more. And as a result of that, I've learned how to humble myself. And it's easy to transition. And so I try to use my experiences, my stories, my ups and downs. Because our brand's mantra is inspire you to take accountability. Our mission statement is succeed where I have failed, so you don't end up going through the horrible catastrophe that I went through. Complete bankruptcy, losing everything is exactly what I did. And I hope and pray people that listen to more athletes, anybody in general, it could be anybody that goes to work, because we all have to pay bills. If we're an adult, we all have to take responsibility. to learn from me so they don't end up like me.
Right. And just looking at your story, I mean, it's so inspirational. Kind of like you explained it a little bit right there about how you were really just you were down in the dumps, and it was very tough for you to be able to get back up. And so for people who are down right now, or don't really have a lot of motivation for the future, especially in this unprecedented time, do you have any sort of advice for these people on how they're able to pick themselves up and be able to start loving life again?
Yeah, first thing to do, write down their biggest strengths. It's very easy for us to beat ourselves, tell ourselves what we don't do well. But if you want to have success in life, first thing you must do is to your 3 biggest strengths. Identify those and then put those into your mind and compute if you want to do, how can you make a change and or pivot? How can you change your strategy without changing your vision? That's what pivot is. It's a change in strategy and or your final destination. So if you are doing what you need to do or want to do, great. How can you get more inspired? If you're do your strengths, put those into your mind, compute those, and then hopefully it will pop out for you the best career for you where you can live happy, take care of your responsibilities all at the same time. And that's what happened to me. I was a custodian. I had a spoiled milk moment with somebody's trash and my body, my clothes. As a result of that, I came home, wrote down my 3 biggest strengths, and I realized I was good at communication, being people, good at telling stories. And that's how I computed becoming a speaker. Now, when I started, no idea about how to run the business side of it, not actually doing it, but I just knew what I wanted to do and I went after it. And, here we're in 2.5 years when I started, not a job. September 2013, didn't get my first paid job until April 2016. Wow. And I haven't looked back since. For 9 Fortune 500 companies. I have some of the largest clients in the world in food service and insurance to financial. We do speeches. We work in the HR industry, staffing, real estate, mortgage, and we have some amazing clients. And I'm very humble, very appreciative because they have chosen us to serve them. Right. And our team would be without my people that's there. My team is my everything, my partner to my website person, to my videographer, my trademark and patent, everyone on our team is vital. So again, if you're listening to this podcast and you're struggling, write down your 3 biggest strengths, your foundation, and that's how you start.
That's amazing. I love it, Marques. Just one last question that I had for you, just pertaining to your experience in the NFL. When you were on the Titans, I was wondering what your experience was like playing with Vince Young.
Oh, Vince is phenomenal. Vince's problem, he'll tell you himself, his ego got in the way. As a result of that, he made some bad. He lived that he should not have tried to live. And, it caught up with him. And you know what? He's young. We all make mistakes. So I'm not going to judge him because we make mistakes. We spent $3 million on a bad construction job. I mean, the job wasn't bad, but I shouldn't have spent that money blindly trusting this hurt me. So who am I to judge anybody? But Vince was a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal football player, great teammate, great person in general. Mistakes with youth, and I've seen him now, and he's doing much better. He's doing some things in football and business, and happy to see he's doing so. Again, all make mistakes in life, so I'm not the person to judge anybody because I will never throw stones from a glass house.
Yeah, 1000%. Vince Young, what he was able to do physically on the football field, unmatched, unreal. I always see what Michael Vick and what Lamar Jackson is able to do this past few years, and I just shake my head. But lastly, just this next Sunday, who's your pick to win the Super Bowl?
Chiefs.
Chiefs. I agree.
Too much offense, buddy. Too much
1000%.
offense.
I completely agree with you. Well, Marcus, I really appreciate you taking the time to tell your story today and to come on the podcast. And for everybody that is listening that wants to learn more about Marcus, go to marcusogden.com.